Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moi, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business. Welcome everybody, it's Francesca Moi here, and today I've got an incredible, amazing guest, and I wanted to have Tony joining me because first, he helped me so much in my business. Every time I get to a bottleneck and I need my team and I to get a little bit of direction, I go, Tony, let's do a session. So I absolutely love working with Tony on this, and I wanted you guys to meet him and see the value that he's bringing to all of us. So everybody, let me welcome the one and only Tony Meredith.
Amazing. Yay. Thank you so much, Francesca. I really appreciate the opportunity and to share a little bit with you and with your audience over the next 30 minutes or so. It's going to be great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are obviously come a long way. We've been knowing each other for a few years and we've done a lot of one-to-one meetings and a lot of sessions that I've asked you to do for me and my team. So absolutely love your work. And last year you were a speaker at one of our Level Up conference. And again, this year we're having you as a speaker because of the amazing feedback of all the people in the room. We're like, Tony was amazing. Can we have more? And we're like, of course. So thank you. But first, let's go back to the beginning of your business. So what inspired you to start your business and how do you continue to evolve your business throughout the years? I know that you're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Just go back into my journey. So prior to getting into business, so I was a national sales manager for a pharmaceutical business, and I used to spend most of my life in an airplane or a hotel suite somewhere else other than in Brisbane, which is where home is. And around the end of 2014, start of 2015, I was in a pretty dark space. And I was in a dark space because I was never at home. I didn't have a good relationship with my wife. I didn't have a good relationship with my kids, again, because I wasn't at home. We didn't have the wealth that I wanted. I was overweight. And so all these things were happening and it wasn't going very well for me. And I thought, gosh, something's got to give. And I actually came across a book. It was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in there, chapter 2, he talks about start with the end in mind. And for those who've read that particular book, he's talking about your eulogy and when you pass and the things that you want to be remembered by. And when I first read it, I really struggled with my own mortality and I put the book down. And anyway, for whatever reason, a couple of weeks later, so this is now January of 2015, I picked the book back up again and read it, and I understood what he was saying. And what he was saying is that we get one life, and how do you want to be remembered? And do you want to have a memorable life, or do you just want to have an average, mediocre life? And I thought, no, I want to have a memorable life, and I want to be able to serve more people. And so that was really the first step in me figuring out that I wanted to have a business. Then I still didn't know what business I wanted. So what I did is I actually did a weight challenge, and it was a national weight transformation challenge. And I was able to, in 12 weeks, lose 12 kilos. And I lost an enormous amount of weight. I got some guns and I got some six-pack abs as well along the journey. But that really set me into motion. And what I learned during that 12 weeks is that for a lot of things, so you had to do the before and afters, so like the week 0, week 4, week 8 and week 12, and it was the photos in your undies holding the newspaper, and it went all over the internet. So for those who could be cared to look, it's out there somewhere on the internet. And I remember that at the end of week 4, I'd lost a little bit of weight, and I thought, no, I'm going to keep going, and I lost a little bit more at the end of week 8, but then in weeks 9 to 12, the weight literally just fell off me. And so what I learned from that is that consistency and persistence is the key. And there's been plenty of times in my life when I've started something and then given up after a few weeks, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers or listeners can relate as well. And so I thought, no, I'm going to stick this thing through, and I did, and got phenomenal results, both physically, but the more impressive results was actually what it did to my mindset and to my mental well-being. So then fast forward to the 16th of March 2018 is when I left my job. That was the last day of employment. And so I've literally just clocked over my 8-year anniversary. In fact, you know how Facebook sends up the memories 2 years ago to this, what it said 8 years ago. And it was a photo that I took down at the Hawthorne garage down on Hawthorne Road. And it was a photo of me with my laptop and my cup of coffee. And I was saying day 1 of self-employment. So it came up last week. So I actually shared that particular post. And I talked about the fact that 8 years ago, I didn't so much make a decision to get into business. I made a decision to back myself. And so I just went through the ups, the downs, probably more downs than ups, to be honest, during that time. But the great news is that here we are some 8 years later, and I'm able to tell the story.
I love it. That is so beautiful. And it's so true, right? You don't see the results for a long time when you start a business, and you got to make a choice. It's all about decision, it's all about consistency, and then you get results. And so if someone is watching and they wonder, so what is the business that you chose? What do you do?
Oh, of course. What did I choose? Yes, I chose business coaching. Gosh, amongst all that story, I forgot to talk about my business. So, business coaching. So, my business is Tony Meredith Coaching. I'm a business coach and I specialize in the areas of sales, leadership, and then mindset as well. And so, that's what I chose to do. And I didn't start off doing that. I dabbled in a little bit of property, I dabbled in a little bit of life coaching. But along the way, I figured it out. And I suppose the thing is that so many people will hold themselves back and they want to get everything really perfect. Whereas I said, you know what? No, I'm going to just have a go at this. And I was going to have a go at a little bit of property coaching, going to have a go at a little bit of life coaching. And then along the way, my wife kept saying, why don't you do business coaching? Like you had a really great job in business and 25 years of experience. And I went, I'm done with that business stuff. How right was she and how wrong was I? And it was the moment that I started to focus on the business coaching was the moment that my business really, really took off. But then there was this thing called COVID that came along. That was really difficult it was difficult for most of us, right? So it was difficult for me specifically, relatively new business. I didn't have locked in contracts and people were saying, look, Tony, we really like what you're doing, but our business is going down the gurgler, so we really don't need someone like you. So that was really difficult for me. Thankfully, during that time, I was part of a network community, which you're aware of, Francesca, and having that group of like-minded business people was really helpful from a little bit of business point of view, but also from a morale point of view. And it was just nice to be able to bounce some ideas off others, because sometimes in business, particularly when you're starting out and you're on your own, it can be a little bit lonely. And so it's really nice to be able to share some ideas, kick around some different thoughts. And I was very fortunate that I had that community which saw me through those difficult times during COVID. Here we are, some 4 or 5 years post-COVID. Business has never been better. Every year we continually grow from strength to strength, and I'm delighted that we were able to stick it out. And it goes back to my story around my weight transformation, which is around that consistency and persistence. And that's one of the things that I would say is an absolute strength of mine, is that tenacity to just keep going. I'm not fixated on the short-term gratification. I'm all about the medium to long term, and it's just about keep going. You're on the right path. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're inching your way closer, and of course it has.
I love it. That is so beautiful. Such a beautiful story. Now, I know that you will speak about this at the conference. And the other day when we were talking about your topic for the conference, I was like, wow, I'm so excited. I can't wait for you to share this topic, which is most small business they don't have a lead problem. And I was like, what are you talking about? We all have a lead problem. What are you talking about? And you told me something that was so good, like the first leak of a 7-figure business owner. So please share a little bit of that, because so that people understand when they come to conference, you're going to dive into this topic of what are the leaks that we have that we all think is only leads, but is it?
Yeah, so I've come up with what I call three revenue leaks. And the first revenue leak is from a lead generation point of view. And so that is, how are we generating leads? What are the things that we're doing to get those leads to come in? So it's very much around the top of funnel. And I was having this conversation with someone this morning actually around this. It's around what are the things that we could be doing to get the top of funnel? Now, there's some things that you can do. It might be like networking. It might be do some social media. But again, it's that consistency and persistence of constantly challenge yourself to getting that lead to come into the top of the funnel in the first place. Because if you're not getting any leads, then that means that people aren't aware who you are. You're a bit of a secret. And if you're trying to sell a secret, well, that's not a very good business. And so it's about how do you go and generate a whole range of leads? And also, how do you make sure that the leads are the right leads? It's one thing to have leads, but if you've got people who are tire kicking, who are just wanting to get the best prize, who aren't really a good fit, then is that the right lead? And I understand, particularly I've gone through this myself as well, that early on in business, all you want is just revenue. You just want someone who's going to pay you some money. And so you drop your standards when it comes to the types of people that you want to work with. But what I've found is that typically those people are the hardest. Are they the least profitable? Are they the decisions that you regret along the way? So it's about making sure that you're really clear on who is your ideal customer, your ICP, your ideal customer profile, who are those types of people, and then starting to come up with ways to generate leads from those people.
I love it. So that's number one. And what is number two? Obviously, because obviously, like, I am so excited about you going into the conference in depth in these 3 steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the first leak.
Yep. So the second leak is in your sales process. So again, if you follow the funnel down, now that you've got a lead, what are you doing about that lead? And so I do a lot of work with one of Australia, in fact, Australia's largest franchise group, and they have a commitment in your contract that when a lead comes in, you must contact that lead within 2 hours of the lead coming through. Now, I remember researching a service industry study from America a number of years ago, and they talk about that it's actually the first 5 minutes. And if you contact that lead within the first 5 minutes of them inquiring, you are 21 times more likely to convert that lead than if you leave it to 30 minutes. And the reason being is that in 2026, we are in an instant gratification society. And so that is that if I inquire, I want you to respond. Otherwise, I'm going down the road to the next person. And so it's very much around the speed of that inquiry. The second piece is then what's your qualification process? So making sure, again, like I said earlier, that not every lead is equal and putting people through your own qualification process. And the next part is around your sales process. So what does that look like? So sales is actually not that difficult when you have a process and you've got a repeatable process and you simply just follow the bouncing ball, whether it be handling objections, whether it be closing of sales, whether it be at what point do you do your pitch, at what point do you talk about the finances relating to your offer, whatever that might be. Excuse me. But it's a case of having a repeatable process. And we're going to work our way through what that looks like so that your audience in the conference in May will walk away with some steps so they can go and create their own sales process. So that's step number 2, which is in relation to the sales process. Do you want me to go on to the third one?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Then the third one is around leadership and accountability. Now, if you're on your own, then leadership is really self-leadership, right? It's about what are you doing? How are you showing up? Leading yourself. What are the standards for your business? If you have a team of people, then it's about leading those people, but it's also then around the accountability. So what I mean here is, what are the actions that are required to be taken to ensure that you grow your business and generate more revenue? See, most businesses, Francesca, will focus on the top line number. They'll focus on, I want to achieve 20 grand, 50 grand, whatever it is this particular month. And that's fine, but I call that a lag indicator. That is a lag indicator that will happen as a result of doing certain things that sit within my control. So the things that sit within my control, they're lead indicators. And so it's about, I want to create a whole range of lead indicators that if I want to generate 20 grand, 50 grand, whatever is my goal, I've got to make sure that I'm doing the things that sit within my control to ensure that I deliver on the $20,000 or $50,000. The other piece is to be proactive with it. I literally just finished a coaching session earlier today where the clients were a little bit reactive, right? And what we tend to do is when things are going well, we go, oh, no need to really go and have lead conversations and no need to worry about sales process because things are going well. Then all of a sudden you go through a dip and we go through this panic sets in and now all of a sudden I'm scrambling to figure out what are the things that I can do. Whereas I'm of the view that you want to be proactive all the time, consistently doing things. Again, it goes back to what I learned all those years ago in that weight challenge. It's the consistency and the persistence of doing a whole range of things, those lead indicators. That's what will ensure that you create a phenomenal success. And a lead indicator is a bit like that if you were going fishing. Rather than putting one line in the water, you might put 5 different lines in the water. And maybe on those lines, you've got different bait. But as the fish swims past, it might miss the first couple of lines or doesn't want the first bit of bait. But one of those 5 lines perhaps has got the bait or the line that they take a bite of. So it's about recognizing a whole range of different lead indicators. And then there's the accountability that sits within that. And the reality is that in order to get a better outcome in your business, there's a whole range of things that you've got to do. It's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to happen because you hope it happens. It's going to happen because you have put in place the structures, the rigor, the actions that take you towards where you want to get to. So we'll talk a lot about leadership, whether it be self-leadership, a little bit on leading of others, but then also the accountability. That is, what are the things specifically within your control that you are going to do to ensure that you achieve your sales outcome?
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it's so true, right? Are you putting out there enough baits? And the other day I was talking to someone else, they was telling me something that I really love, it stick to my head, is stay calm and keep building acquisition channels. Because it's so true. We just put all our eggs in one acquisition channel. And if something happens, if the wind changes, it moves the line and then the bait is gone. And then you were relying all of it in that one, right?
That's right.
It's fascinating. I am so excited, Tony, to have you back at the conference. First, thank you so much for coming back. It's going to be another exciting, amazing 2 days together. But Tony, tell me something. Someone is listening and they are thinking, I don't have time to go to a 2-day conference in May. Like, I can't afford to go there. So
Yep,
I'm not going to
sure.
go.
Okay, gotcha. Well, there's two different things there. One is money, one is time. Either way, move beyond that. And what I mean by that is, do you want to grow your business? Are you looking for different outcomes in your business? If you're looking for different outcomes, then I guarantee you, having gone to the conference last year and seeing the participants and seeing the amount of amazing information that they took away at the end of the 2 days, I would say for 2 days, is that an opportunity that you cannot go to grow your business? And also to in business and life, it's never a time issue, it's a priority issue. And so what I mean by that is that when something important comes into your life, it's funny, right? So you'll have people and say, oh, Tony, I can't do that. I didn't have time. And all of a sudden someone might offer them a ticket to go to a sporting event. And of course they're there and they're at the sporting event. It wasn't really a time issue after all, wasn't it? It was a priority issue. How important is it for you to grow your business? And if it's important, I'd say get along. In regards to the monetary side of things, I think it's under a couple of $100, I think, from memory.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Right?
$150 at the moment.
Oh my gosh. So for me, when I charge out for 1 hour, it is like 4 times as much as that for 1 hour. So you've got 2 days of really comprehensive business growing tips, tricks, strategies, networking, etc. for well under $200. Again, a bit similar to the time, I would say it's a really small investment. If you want a different outcome in your business, then you've got to do different stuff. And the way that you learn different things is going to events like Francesca's in May.
Thank you, Tony. That's absolutely right. And the other day I was talking to a client that was saying to me, Francesca, I cannot physically take 2 days out of my business. Like my business will crash. And I said, look, I want to tell you something from the bottom of my heart. If you really cannot get out of your business because you're afraid that your business will crash, this is exactly why you need to come to stop this pattern. Because you created a business that rely on you and you don't have the tools to get out of this treadmill that you created for yourself. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, I've got so many sayings, you would know that, but one of them is the reason why you can't is the reason why you should. And so you can't go because you got no time. That's precisely the reason that you want to go. You can't go because you got no money. That's precisely the reason that you want to go. The reason why you can't is the reason why you should.
I love it. And to be honest, I've been to a lot of events and I know that you've been to a lot of events too. And we have a little bit of a different style. And I love the fact that Tony has got my same style in teaching. It's not about just pitching for an hour on stage. It's about giving value. Literally, the people last year, they were listening to Tony. They were like writing down like crazy. Wait, Tony, go back in the slide. I love it. So it's like there is tangible results. And at the end of every speaker, we're going to do aha moments around each table. So you guys are going to be in different tables and we're going to allow you to choose out of what you listen from Tony, what are the 2 things that you're going to implement in your business on Monday when you go back. So we did that last time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been to plenty of different events in my lifetime, and you go to these events and you feel great at the event, but then you go back to the office on the Monday and the phone rings and the customer complains and the staff's got a sick day and all this stuff happens. And now all of that goodwill just tends to dissipate. So it's about the action, like the event. Yes, the event is important. The event is important, and be like a sponge and get as much out of the event as you can. But the real magic happens when you get back in your office and you implement some things. Now, you won't be able to implement everything you hear, but like Francesca said, there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 nuggets that you can really do incredibly well. In fact, I was very fortunate that just recently I interviewed the founder of the world's largest networking group. And he talked about that to succeed at something, instead of doing 1,000 things 6 times, you want to do 6 things 1,000 times. So what that means is you want to be really quite narrow. So you go to an event like the one in May, come up with a list of just a few things that you can implement. Don't try and do 100 things, because I would describe that as you're trying to boil the ocean, right? And it's not a very successful way. Rather, if you come with just a few things, but implement them incredibly well. And what I'd also say to that is that in 2026, there is no shortage of places to get information. However, the biggest opportunity for business is to execute on that information. I literally just had a session with some clients this morning where We talked about a whole range of things, but at the end of the day, the thing that was not going well for them was the fact that they were choosing not to take action on the things that they know they should have done. And so ultimately, it's about taking action. Come along to the event, get a few nuggets of gold, but then you've got to be able to implement those to see a meaningful change in your business.
Absolutely. So Tony and I will be there. It's on the 14th and 15th of May. Day 1 is going to be a full day, 9 to 5. Day 2, we're going to do 9 to 3 because it's a Friday and everybody wants to finish early. And so we are implementing that this year. So it's a little bit of a shorter day on day 2, but it's going to be fully packed of value. There's also going to be a lot of lucky door prizes. So you're also going to win, because who doesn't like to win? And it's going to be amazing, incredible speakers. We're going to do a panel. So you don't just listen to the speakers, you also get a chance to ask questions. And at the end of day 2, we're also going to do a round table. So every speaker will have a table and you can go and ask as many questions as you want, because they will have 50 minutes literally there for you. Tony's going to be giving his full 2 days to us. And that's because he understands the value of networking and adding back to the community, which I absolutely love that about him. Tony, one more final thought to anybody watching this going, maybe I should check this out. What would you say?
I would say do it. I would say follow through on that. If you're saying maybe you should, again, the reason why you can't is the reason why you should. Check it out. Do it. Make a decision. Like, it's 2 days. It's less than a couple of $100. It's going to fundamentally change your business by doing it. So just do it.
Yes, and if you wonder who this is for, it's for 7-figure business owners, or if you are close to the 7 figures and you want to crack that and go to the next level, this is why you need to come. And if you are a 7-figure business owner and you cannot find the time, then make sure that you make the time so they will see you there. Tony, thank you again for your time, and I'll see you at the conference.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. It's in Brisbane, by the way. Level Up Conference, 14th, 15th of May. My team is going to put a ticket here, the ticket link, so you can grab it right now. See you there. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this amazing podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this, you're definitely going to love my Facebook group, where I've got over 11,000 people in it, and they're all business owners successful like you. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge, and in there I do classes every week, and I get to interview my clients, and I get to teach you all the things that I've done to get my business to 100K plus a month. So I look forward to have you in there. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge Facebook group in Facebook. I look forward to see you there. Ciao.